Congressman, many in law enforcement do not want to legalize marijuana, even for medical use. You've discussed, of course, one of your campaign issues is legalizing marijuana. How do you convince law enforcement, lawmakers who would need to change the law, as well as your constituents who have doubts about this? How would you convince them that this is the right thing to do?
Yeah, great question. And a few things. First and foremost, I voted on a bill that would ban chokeholds and ban no-knock warrants. Some of the things that Governor McMaster, I believe, supported. And he wants to bring up Nancy Pelosi. The fact is that I took over 900 votes while I was in Congress. And around 8% of those votes were with Nancy Pelosi. I was ranked one of the most independent and one of the most bipartisan members of Congress. And that's exactly the kind of governor that I'm going to be. Independent and thinking for himself. I've talked to a lot of police officers who do want to legalize marijuana. And I've talked to a lot of veterans as well, folks. And call me old-fashioned, but I believe that if you put it all on the line to serve our country, and many of them come home from overseas with wounds that we can't always see, PTSD or otherwise. And many have told me that they need access to marijuana to be able to sleep at night. And these individuals went to Governor McMaster and asked him and begged him and pleaded with him to legalize medical marijuana so that they could get the medical treatment that they deserve. Governor McMaster turned his back on our veterans. So they called me. And I've been respecting them and advocating that they have the medical freedom that they deserve, because that's what they get whenever they serve our country with honor.
Governor McMaster, where do you stand on legalizing marijuana?
How about a rebuttal?
This is just a question to you.
This is still the same. This is the same question to you, Governor. But where do you stand on legalizing marijuana? Are there any instances where you see it could be available to South Carolinians?
Well, legalizing recreational marijuana is one thing. Medical marijuana, that's something else. Now, I presided over the Senate for 2 years, as you know, before I moved from lieutenant governor to governor. And I think just about every day, Tom Davis, senator from Beaufort, had someone there, and he was making the case for medical marijuana. That is a very interesting proposition. Now, law enforcement is foursquare opposed to it, but there may be some movement there, because there are people that cannot get relief anywhere else. So that's a completely different animal from recreational marijuana. And I look at it, what do you want to teach the children? How do we want to teach? Do you want to teach them that recreational marijuana is great, just go out and smoke a joint, or that voting on sports contests and horse racing? I mean, I think we got to be serious. Sports, yeah, but sport, you can have a lot of freedom without having an organized sports betting thing in South Carolina. I mean, that's gambling. A lot of people are opposed to it. And recreational marijuana, those are not the answers to the problems in South Carolina. Far from it. And I would just, on that issue, I would echo Congressman Clyburn when he said, and I quote, "You need to grow up, Joe."
Congressman rebuttal.
Look, I'm not going to apologize for fighting for more freedom, especially for our veterans that Governor McMaster has slammed the door on. Because, Governor, I served on the Veterans Affairs Committee. I've heard countless stories. You know, the Marine who lost a limb from a roadside bomb and told me that every night when he laid his head down on his pillow, he had flashbacks of that bomb and was unable to go to sleep. And the only thing that allowed him to go to sleep at night was using marijuana. I think he deserves that freedom. And a lot of veterans who are scared of becoming addicted to opioids, why can't we give them that medical freedom? Now, 4 years ago, Governor McMaster stood on the stage with James Smith saying he was against medical marijuana. I support Senator Tom Davis' bill. I think we can do that. That's why 90% of Americans support it as well. But we have career politicians that have become so disconnected from where the rest of the country and where the rest of the state is. I want to move our state forward and take it into the future and out of the past.